Travel through the wasteland era and gain the ability to enter the gaming world. By completing the task, various items can be taken out. Fill your personal pockets with all project resources in the bridge building game. In the thief simulation game, you become a thief who steals from the sky. Wherever you go, no grass grows, even a piece of land is not spared. Rubbing rockets in the apocalyptic preparation game. Zombie destruction plan. No, zombie labor reform project. Get items and skills in various games, and build the strongest city in reality. Keywords of the novel. If I could enter the game world without pop-ups, if I could enter the game world, download the complete text, and if I could enter the latest chapters of the game world to read. Chapter 1. Bridge Construction Simulator. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Bridge Construction Simulator in a Collapsed Building. Tang Ming sat on a stone step covered in cracks. He was playing with a laptop that he had just dug out of the ruins. I hope it can still be used. Tang Ming prayed. The world he is in is a wasteland world. He was happy to have traveled to this world and found himself carrying a golden finger. But what he never expected was that his golden finger entered the gaming world on the computer. Eating and drinking in the wasteland world is a problem. He takes his head to find the game. Although the cheats were already in front of me, I could only watch them. It's simply top-notch torture. However, fortunately, after 2 years of continuous searching, he finally gained something today. A laptop that looks undamaged. Let's go back and see if we can charge it up first. If not, we can only continue working in the sea. Thinking of this, Tang Ming sighed and put his notebook in his backpack behind him. The backpack is bulging, and besides the computer I got this time, there are also many miscellaneous items. A few cans that have expired for an unknown number of years, some steel nails, fabric, paper, and so on. As long as Tang Ming thinks they can be used, he will bring them with him. This is not only due to the scarcity of resources on the wasteland, but also because he himself has a serious collection habit. If he doesn't bring home something that may be useful, he can be indecisive all night. The backpack behind me is heavy, but compared to the joy of finding the computer, this hard work is nothing. He walked cautiously through the ruins, avoiding the mutated creatures he encountered along the way. It took him nearly an hour before he finally arrived at a collapsed shopping mall. The underground garage of the mall is his current refuge. Very safe, hiding below almost eliminates the fear of being discovered by mutated creatures wandering around. Tang Ming looked around cautiously, only then did he confidently remove the obstruction at the entrance when he saw no one around. Compared to the mutated creatures wandering on the wasteland, he is more worried about those scavengers like him. Without legal constraints, these people act almost without any taboos, and killing and seizing materials is the norm. So he only comes into contact with others on trading days, and most of the rest of the time he can be alone. Entering the garage, Tang Ming's tense spirit relaxed slightly. Every time he went out to search for supplies, he felt like he might die halfway. But fortunately, today not only was there no danger, but there was also a good harvest. When I think of the notebook in my backpack. Tang Ming couldn't wait to enter the bottom of the garage. There are many parking spaces here, which he has divided into different warehouses for easy sorting and placement of various materials. However, most of them are the kind of garbage that is tasteless to eat and regretful to discard. Arriving at the workshop, Tang Ming dug up the batteries he had traded from other scavengers. This is what he prepared in advance to be able to use the computer immediately after finding it. It's been almost a year since I left it here, and I can finally use it this time. Fu Xing Xian Huang Xian Zun, Fu Xing Xian Huang Tian Jun, Fu Xing Xian Huang God, Fu Xing Xian Huang Tian Zun bless you. Find the wires, connect the power, and Tang Ming begins to pray. He used to not believe in these things, but they have all crossed the line. Let's believe it for now, anyway, he won't be at a disadvantage. And his prayers seem to be really useful. The charging display on the notebook, which had been dusty underground for more than many years, actually lit up. Can be used. Tang Ming was excited and quickly tried to turn on the power. Quickly, a startup interface appeared in front of him. A circle rotates continuously. After waiting for half an hour, the computer finally turned on successfully and the system interface appeared on the screen. Except for a few black bars on the screen and a bit of system lag, Tang Ming was very satisfied with everything else. After confirming that there were no operational issues with the computer, he immediately began to search for the files stored inside and search for the game he wanted. However, Japanese version of learning materials, American version of learning materials, Russian version of learning materials, after flipping through it, Tang Ming found that there were all kinds of learning materials. What is the use of these materials in this current environment? Tang Ming felt pain in his heart, but with that vague hope, he continued to enter one point after another. Suction slip. This file is really big. After a painful search in the waste. Finally, in a corner, a file labeled with the game was flipped out by Tang Ming. However, to his disappointment, there was only one game in this file. Corruption Simulator. Tang Ming pronounced the name of the game, which sounds like it's related to money. However, in this wasteland, money is not even as good as toilet paper. After all, it's still very comfortable to wipe your buttocks with toilet paper, while money is a mess. However, he doesn't have any other games to enter now, so he can only take a look first. Opening the game, Tang Ming did not immediately choose to enter the game, but instead prepared to take a look at the gameplay before proceeding. Because although his golden fingers can allow him to enter the game world, there is a limitation, which is that the game he enters will have a 1-week cooldown and will also consume a lot of stamina. So before using this week's opportunity, he needs to first take a look at this corruption simulator and see what benefits it has. Give priority to food and water. These two things are hard currency on Wasteland, equivalent to money in peacetime. Their names are all called Corruption Simulator. Isn't it too much to have a Manchu and Han audience? Tang Ming thought this way before opening the game. However, when he opened the game, he found that the content was completely different from what he had imagined. How is building a bridge? Tang Ming is a bit confused. The game content is that the player, as the second party, completes the bridge building commission released by the first party and receives compensation. The gameplay is simple and easy to understand, making bridges for money. But this has nothing to do with corruption. Although Tang Ming rose in his heart, he still clicked the touchpad to start the first game. Even if the game content does not match expectations significantly, it does not prevent him from checking for any valuable insights in the game. After playing a game, Tang Ming discovered that it was a puzzle game that aimed to challenge levels. The gameplay is to build different styles of bridges on a limited terrain so that the car can travel to the opposite bank of the river and pass the level. During this process, the less money spent on building bridges, the higher the score obtained after completing the game. I understand, just have hands. Tang Ming thought this way and began to try, but budget exceeds 3,217, rating .3217 comment. Maybe even dogs can design better than you, budget exceeds 2,100, rating .2100 comment. Your company will eventually be ruined by you, budget exceeded by 31, rating .31 evaluation. A newly emerged bridge designer from a thatched cottage. After a few games, all the bridges he built exceeded his budget. Looking at those sarcastic comments, Tang Ming became angry. What spicy chicken game! No matter how few materials there are, the bridge won't collapse. My name is written upside down. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. No. Corruption Simulator. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. No. Corruption Simulator. The designer of this game has a specific problem in their mind. After trying more than 10 times but still exceeding the budget, Tang Ming chose to give up and continue trying, intending to directly enter the game and take a look. Anyway, he has already figured out the game content. Just go in now and move out the materials for repairing the bridge. I don't know what it feels like to enter the game. I haven't had the chance to try before, so Tang Ming still has some concerns about his ability. He is worried that if the computer suddenly crashes, he may be trapped inside and die. Try to be as fast as possible. In short, Tang Ming plans to try his first attempt as quickly as possible and minimize the possibility of accidents. After making sufficient preparations in his heart, Tang Ming reached out to the computer screen. Under normal circumstances, a person's hand will be blocked by the screen, making it impossible to move forward. However, when he arrived at Tang Ming's place, his hand directly reached into the screen. Enter. With the silent recitation in his mouth, his body instantly disappeared into place. But if you look at the computer screen at this time, you will find that there is an anime villain exactly like Tang Ming in the game interface at this time. Hello engineer, can you help me build a bridge that can lead to the opposite side? As soon as he entered the game, a man's voice came to Tang Ming's ear. Looking sideways, it was a Mediterranean wearing a suit. On the surface, it looks no different from a real person, but the expression is a bit stiff. There is a suitcase in his hand, and he wants to pass it to himself. Is this where the game is? Tang Ming did not immediately go to pick up the suitcase, but instead looked around. The azure sky, pure white clouds and a sea of rippling phosphorus, such scenery gives Tang Ming the illusion of crossing over again, rather than entering the corrupt simulator of that inferior art style. He is currently located on a small island with half a road. Well, it's really a small island. It's so small that Tang Ming suspects that the total area of the island doesn't add up to 40 square meters. This is the first level in the corruption simulator, and Tang Ming remembers it very clearly. After all, he tried more than 10 times but failed to pass the level, leaving a deep impression. The commission is to transfer the bridge from Island A to a similarly sized island on the opposite side. Successfully driving a car from Island A to Island B is considered a clearance. The total budget is 7,000, and there are two types of materials that can be used in this level. Steel and wood. The price of steel is 400 yuan per unit, while wood is calculated based on its length. Previously, Tang Ming either had a budget of over 7,000 yuan on his computer or cut corners, causing his car to fall into the sea before reaching its destination. But that's outside the game. In the game, Tang Ming plans to buy materials and run away with a bucket. Thinking of this, Tang Ming picked up the suitcase from Mediterranean's hand. He knew that this contained the huge sum of 7,000 yuan. However, after receiving the money, a sudden message that came to his mind caught him off guard. A bad news and a good news. The good news is that after completing the task, as long as he silently recites in his mind, he can directly leave the game. Even if the computer outside is turned off during this period, it does not affect him. And the 1 hour he spends in the game is equivalent to 1 minute outside, so there's no need to worry about how long it's been outside. But the bad news is that he can only return to reality after completing the task. Difficult to handle. Tang Ming grabbed his head. Originally, he thought his golden finger could directly take items out of the game, but he didn't expect that there would be such restrictions, and it seems that there are different types of restrictions depending on the type of game. I think only by completing the game can I return to reality. Tang Ming had no choice but to focus on research and build the bridge with the budget of 7,000 yuan. Otherwise, he might have been trapped here for a long time. Fortunately, after entering the gaming world, the game settings remained unchanged. The purchased items can appear directly on the ground, be controlled by his mind to build a bridge, and materials that he doesn't want to use can be refunded directly. All he needs to do is think about it. Without any worries, Tang Ming began to constantly try. Quickly, he built a long bridge with steel on both sides and wood in the middle. The total budget spent 6,873 yuan. It didn't exceed the budget, but the premise is that his bridge can allow the cars on A island to pass safely. Tang Ping's thought movement is the test. Then I saw the small car slowly start and quickly reach the bridge deck. At first, it was still stable, but as the car reached the middle wooden structure, the entire bridge began to tremble violently. Seeing this scene, Tang Mingxin lifted his head. However, whatever he was afraid of came, and what he was worried about still happened. Although the small car walked over safely, a huge crack appeared in the middle of the bridge due to quality issues. Done. Since this game is called Bridge Simulator, Tang Ming believes that bridges with quality issues like this will definitely not pass the level. However, task completed, score plus 127, comment. You are a mediocre bridge building designer. You can choose one of the following rewards or challenge again. Choose the remaining budget of 127 equivalent materials to bring back to reality. Choose items with a total volume no more than 3 times your own body and bring them back to reality. Is this also considered completing the task? Tang Ming didn't expect this to work. Is it true that as long as the car reaches the opposite side, it is considered a pass? This idea flashed through Tang Ming's mind, and soon his attention shifted to the reward. The first reward, 127 yuan, can only buy some rotten wood, just skip it. The second reward selection cannot be items larger than 3 times the size of oneself. With this restriction, there's no need to think about the steel on that bridge, and there's nothing left on Island A that one can take with them. Tang Ming looked towards the Mediterranean. Tang Ming decisively chose to start over. Since Tang Ming knew that he only needed a car to reach B Island to complete the task, he felt that he should change his mind. Save as much cost as you can, just deliver the car to the opposite side. No wonder it's called a corruption simulator. After discovering the correct gameplay of this game, Tang Ming realized that he was blaming the author of the wrong game. The next process was for Tang Ming to repeatedly try more cost-effective bridge building methods. No steel, all wood, just add a few more at important load-bearing points, cost 56.31. Build a seesaw with wood, place the steel in the air, and use the impact force of the fall to deliver the car to the opposite side, with a cost of 12.07. Finally, with unremitting efforts, Tang Ming found the bridge construction method that embezzled the most project funds. Using a piece of wood worth 113 yuan, it fell from a height of 47 meters, causing it to hit the bumper of a small and medium-sized car, causing it to overturn and jump directly over a 6-meter-long trench to reach the opposite shore. Task completed, score plus 68.87, comment. All bridge designers would like to ask you how to design bridges. You will receive the following 3 rewards. Choose materials equivalent to the remaining budget of 6,887 yuan to bring back to reality. Choose items with a total volume no more than 9 times your own body and bring them back to reality. 3 random selections of items that exist in the game and bring them back to reality. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Rewards, Eat My Pickup. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Rewards, Eat My Pickup. There's nothing to say, all 6,800 yuan will be replaced with steel, and the remaining dozens will be replaced with wood. The third is random, which he cannot control. If it's 2 items that do not exceed 9 times their own volume. Tang Ming frowned and looked around. There was really nothing worth taking out here except for steel. He set his gaze on the car, whose outrageous operation had completely deformed it. I should be able to dismantle some useful things. Thinking in his heart, Tang Ming chose the car across from him that was completely unrecognizable. Does this item take up 87% of its usable volume? Tang Ming chose yes. There is still 13% left. After looking around, he finally shifted his gaze to the Mediterranean. After a moment, Tang Ming watched the Mediterranean with only 1 pair of shorts left and withdrew from the game with satisfaction. In the underground garage, Tang Ming's figure reappeared, and the entire process did not make him feel any discomfort. If there is anything uncomfortable, it must be said that the air in reality is too turbid, far less fresh than the gaming world. However, Tang Ming only slightly wrinkled his nose and focused all his attention on the newly emerged game backpack. This backpack has no size limit, but can only store items taken out of the game. What he had just realized lay quietly inside. Steel, cars, clothes from the Mediterranean, and a pickup truck. Seeing the pickup truck, Tang Ming's eyes lit up, and it was obvious that this was the item randomly selected for the third reward. As his mind moved, a military green pickup truck appeared out of thin air on the empty field in front of him. The brand new full oil has just passed the annual inspection. Having such a car in hand makes it much easier for him to go out and pick up garbage in the future, and he can quickly escape danger. With this in mind, Tang Ming immediately took a test drive and drove several laps around the underground parking lot before contentedly putting the pickup truck back into the game backpack. This is quite convenient. Tang Ming sighed with emotion. Previously, he was worried that the steel would be too heavy to handle, but now it seems that his worries are somewhat unnecessary. With the existence of a game backpack, he can carry it with him even in a city. Tomorrow happens to be the trading day, so we can exchange steel for some supplies. Thinking of this, Tang Ming took out 1 unit of steel. In the game, a unit of steel is a 2-meter-long I-beam, which is similar in reality and has excellent quality. Tang Ming weighed the weight with a scale, one weighing 120 kilograms, which is 240 pounds. The ratio of good steel to food in the market is 1.1, which means that 1 kilogram of steel can be exchanged for 1 kilogram of food. However, this type of food is of inferior quality, with most of it being degraded or containing a small amount of radiation. The food he is eating now is like this: it can't kill people, but if it weren't for living, he really wouldn't want to eat this kind of thing. However, the quality of life can be improved in the future. After all, eating spoiled food every day, as long as it is a normal person, their body will eventually have major problems. Ask about the price of refined grains then. After making arrangements for tomorrow, Tang Ming took out the almost scrapped car from his gaming backpack again. The car has severely deformed, but after some inspection, Tang Ming found that the actual damage is not serious. Important components can be used normally. This engine can be used to generate electricity. I don't know how many times the battery can still be used, but the computer is the cornerstone of its takeoff, which must be given priority consideration. As for everything except the engine, Tang Ming will keep all the useful ones and prepare to sell them together tomorrow. After being busy and dismantling everything that could be dismantled, Tang Ming also began to sort and arrange the things he harvested today. As a person with a serious collection fetish, all the things picked up must be neat and tidy, otherwise you won't be able to sleep at all. Get it done. Looking at the restored and tidy underground parking lot, Tang Ming nodded in satisfaction. There is nothing more enjoyable than tidying up a warehouse. If there is, there must be more supplies for him to tidy up. After being busy, Tang Ming's energy returned to him. Suddenly, he felt like he hadn't eaten for a few days. The use of ability consumes so much physical energy. Tang Ming covered his stomach and quickly flipped out the food. A few cans of expired lunch meat, as well as a few cans found today, and a slightly cloudy bottle of drinking water, all entered his stomach shortly after. These days of eating and starving made Tang Ming couldn't help but miss the era before his travels. Although it's 996 every day, although the prices are high, although I can't afford to get married, although the children may not be my own after getting married, although, Damn it. Why do I have the illusion that my current life is also good? Tang Ming shook his head and threw this strange idea out of his mind. Fill his stomach and go to bed directly. He is planning to wake up earlier tomorrow. On trading day, the later the day, the more people there are, and as the number of people increases, the danger will also increase proportionally. He almost fell for it the first time he didn't know. The next day the scorching sun rises early. This caused a rapid increase in surface temperature, quickly reaching over 40 degrees. Today is another day with radiation. Feeling the piercing pain emanating from his skin, Tang Ming sighed. The surface of this world is filled with a large amount of radiation, and these radiation factors become active every time the temperature rises. But fortunately, it's not very strong. After staying on the ground for a long time, at most it's just deformed and can't even die. The trading market is located in a subway station, about 7 to 8 kilometers away from where he lives. Located in the center of the city, it is also the intersection of several subway lines. Previously, when Tang Ming went to the trading market, he chose to enter nearby subway stations and travel through tunnels. Because there are many mutated creatures lurking in the city, it is too dangerous to travel directly from the ground to the destination. Especially in areas unfamiliar with the terrain, encountering attacks from mutated creatures can be considered fatal. Although Tang Ming entered the game yesterday and obtained a small pickup truck, he was not ready to drive directly there. Instead, he chose to go through the subway tunnel as before. As for the reason, the mutated creatures of 7 or 8 meters are like toys with pickup trucks in front of them. Soon, Tang Ming arrived at the nearest subway entrance to his base. At this point, there are already many scavengers standing here. There are 2 or 3 people forming a team, and there are also lone wolves like Tang Ming. Tang Ming glanced around and saw a total of 11 people on the scene, including 9 men and 2 women who were familiar faces. After all, living here for so long, the neighbors around have more or less met a few times. However, what makes Tang Ming feel a bit strange is why everyone is standing here abnormally today. In the past, we used to go separately, but today it seems like we want to travel in groups. P.S. Ball collection, ball rewards, QVQ, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. No accidents or accidents. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. No accidents or accidents, Tang Kid. Just as Tang Ming was puzzled, he heard someone calling him in the crowd. Tang Ming glanced sideways and found that the person calling him was Lao Yuto. This is an old man with a hunting crossbow on his back, a black beret on his head, and a raincoat draped over his shoulders. No one knows the real name of Lao Yuto, but he is the longest-lasting scavenger in this area. When Tang Ming first traveled, if it weren't for the fact that the other party happened to pass by and imparted him some survival experience, he would have died long ago at the mouth of a mutated creature. Old you, what's the situation here? Lao Yuto called himself probably because of this matter, and Tang Ming directly asked the question in his heart. The line leading to the trading market below has collapsed. Lao Yu frowned tightly, and this news was bad news not only for him but also for any scavenger on site. Because most of their food and drinking water are obtained through trading markets. Losing the source of this material will make their survival extremely difficult. Upon hearing this, Tang Ming's expression was also somewhat unpleasant. If the safe route was broken, it meant that he needed to take a risk to travel to the trading market from another route. He had previously stored some seawater in the game backpack by taking out the remaining volume of the game and distilling it to deal with drinking water issues in a short period of time, but he had already eaten all the food yesterday. So on this trading day, he must go, otherwise he will have to starve to death. Can the collapsed area be cleared out? Tang Ming asked. If possible, he really doesn't want to take risks. Probably not, the collapse is too serious. It's impossible for us alone to clean it up in a short period of time. We will definitely miss this trading day. Lao Yu shook his head. At the scene, there are only a few items stored at home, as those with surplus grain are being cleared from the collapsed area below. And these of them, who are almost out of ammunition and food, obviously cannot wait that long. So, we need to take a detour. Lao Yuto said, pointing to the subway line next to Tang Ming. We used to be able to reach our destination directly through line 10, but now it's blocked. If we still want to go to the trading market, we have to go through the station where line 10 interacts with line 3 and switch to line 3 before heading to the trading market. Tang Ming looked at the subway route map and, after being explained by Lao Yuto, he quickly understood the dangers involved. Although the two stations are adjacent, both stations can reach the trading market through their respective routes, and the distance is the same. If the previous station passes through their station to reach the trading market, it will take an additional 2 to 3 kilometers, which is not worth the loss. This means that no one has ever been to the tunnel connecting their site to the later sites. There is a great possibility of danger in a place that no one has been to. But for them, this is already the line with the lowest risk factor at present. How long will it take to depart? At the same time as Tang Ming asked, he also scanned the surrounding people with his gaze again. This was already 1/3 of the scavengers in his area, and it is estimated that there will not be many people coming again after waiting. And the situation was the same as Tang Ming estimated, and after waiting for about half an hour, it only added one more person to the team. Wait a minute, everyone, let's go. If we wait any longer, we're afraid that the market might scatter when we arrive. The speaker was a strong man over 1.8 meters tall. His name is Wang Kai, and it is said that his nose and ears are very agile, just like a dog. Behind the scenes, everyone calls him a crazy dog, not only for the reasons mentioned above, but also because he fights like a crazy dog. Several scavengers around were all bitten to death by him. It can only be said that since the advent of the wasteland era, these mentally abnormal individuals have become the norm among human survivors. So everyone looked at him with a hint of fear in their eyes. He spoke without anyone daring to oppose, and besides agreeing with his proposal, he was also worried about being held in grudge. Since no one has any objections, let's go. After Wang Kai finished speaking, he was the first to enter the platform. Everyone followed in order when they saw the situation. There is only a glimmer of light inside the subway station, and this glimmer still emanates from the tunnel in front, belonging to the scavengers who clean up the collapsed area. If you listen carefully, you can still hear some tapping sounds. Because there is no light source in the subway, everyone has prepared torches in advance. At this moment, everything was also lit up, and the orange-red flames instantly dissipated most of the darkness around them. Let's go. Wang Kai spoke up, but this time he didn't move, holding his hands and staring at the others on the scene with bloodshot eyes. At this point, no one dares to speak up and is afraid of becoming the leader. Because everyone knows that in this situation, the leader has to bear the greatest risk. Silence lasted for over a minute. After scanning the crowd with disdainful eyes, Wang Kai ultimately fell on the only two female scavengers in the team. These two people are together, a mother and daughter. My daughter is 17 or 18 years old, while my mother is already in her 40s. Her father lost his life in an accident during a scavenger hunt, leaving only these two mothers and daughters to rely on each other. Two people belong to the weak side in a team of 12. Seeing Wang Kai looking at the two, the eyes of the others changed, and then they looked at the mother and daughter one after another. Although it may be a bit bullying, it's always better than relying on oneself. The mother saw everyone around her looking at her, with a slight struggle in her eyes, and finally took a step forward. In this situation, even if they want to withdraw, they have no chance to do so. Because once they speak up, with Wang Kai's personality, they will definitely directly attack them. Let me do it, old man. I won't live for a few days anyway. However, just as the mother was about to speak up about this matter, old Yu suddenly stepped forward. Tang Ming also didn't expect that at this moment, old Yu would stand up and instinctively tug at the other person's clothes. However, this small gesture only brought back a reassuring look from Lao Yuto. Let me join you. Tang Ming saw the situation and knew he couldn't persuade him back. Lao Yuto is a warm-hearted person, otherwise he wouldn't have taught himself how to survive on the wasteland. Wang Kai saw Lao Yuto stand up, his face turning a bit unsightly. His gaze swept over the daughter's body without leaving a trace, indicating that besides looking for cannon fodder, his motive was also impure. Although the daughter's face was dirty and she couldn't see her beauty clearly, many scavengers on this wasteland said that the sows had clear eyebrows and beautiful eyes, let alone a young girl in the prime of her youth. Since you want to lead the way, old you, hurry up and don't waste everyone's time. Wang Kai urged in a tone that was not friendly. Regarding this, Lao Yu didn't say anything, just cautiously holding a torch and walking slowly towards the darkness behind him. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Tunnel, dark, white, multiple people, massive bleeding. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Tunnel, dark, white, multiple people, massive bleeding. The dangerous road ahead will take about half an hour to walk. In this situation, everyone has taken out their own weapons. Lao Yu's head has a hunting crossbow and a firewood knife. Tang Ming was holding a fire axe in his hand, which he found from the underground parking garage. Due to its dryness, it was well preserved and still sharp. As for the other scavengers behind them, their weapons were also diverse, including kitchen knives, batons, and so on, but only without guns. The reason seems to be that before its disappearance, this country, like the country where he lived in his previous life, belonged to a gun control country, and there were only a few firearms left among the people. Don't be so close to me. If you really encounter danger later, I won't care about you. Old Yu said in a voice that only the two of them could hear. Tang Ming pursed his lips and said, "What you're saying is that I need your protection." He is also a strong young man. No matter how weak a chicken is, he can't even be compared to an old man. Forget it, whatever you want. Old Yu didn't say much when he couldn't persuade Tang Ming. But before the two of them could take a few more steps, there was still movement coming from behind. The person who came is the daughter, whose name seems to be Fan Xiaoxiao. Thank you, Grandpa Yu. This is what my mother asked me to give to you. Fan Xiaoxiao handed over a cloth bag wrapped in cloth. Looking through the exposed area, there are some cookies. It should be done by the other mother herself. Regarding this, Lao Yuto did not refuse and directly accepted it. When the little girl returned to the back, he also whispered a reminder. Be careful of that Wang Kai, this guy is not a good thing. After finishing this sentence, he stopped speaking and focused all his attention on the road ahead. With Tang Ming behind him, he doesn't have to worry about the safety issues behind him. Afterwards, the tunnel became completely quiet. Everyone's face reflected nervousness under the illumination of the fire. Be cautious and dare not make any sound. After walking about 10 minutes, everyone's nervousness slightly eased when they saw that they were still safe and not attacked. It seems that nothing will happen. Just as someone was thinking this in their mind, they suddenly saw Old Yu, who was leading the way ahead, stop. With a serious expression on his face, as if he had found something on the ground. Tang Ming immediately approached to check. Looking over, I quickly realized the reason why Lao Yuto was so serious. This tunnel has not been passed by for years, so a lot of dust has accumulated on the track. At this moment, a claw mark suddenly appeared on the flat dust in front of them. It's a night demon. Lao Yuto's expression was somewhat cautious, and with extensive experience, he quickly confirmed the identity of the owner of the paw print. Night demons are also products of biological mutations during world disasters. The reason why it makes people turn pale is because it not only has a large number, but also has a ghostly speed. However, fortunately, night demons are extremely afraid of sunlight, otherwise humans would have been extinct long ago under the attack of such things. The group of scavengers behind him changed their faces when they heard the news. What should we do now? Some scavengers are panicking. They are now underground, and if they really encounter a night demon, with the abnormal speed and flexibility of the night demon, it is truly lifeless. Shut up, everyone. Wang Kai suppressed his voice and looked fiercely at the crowd. Are you trying to lure that thing over? Everyone immediately fell silent upon hearing this, but they all clenched their weapons and were ready to fight at any time. Wang Kai saw the situation and looked at Lao Yuto and Tang Ming. How many are there? There should only be one. Lao Yuto checked the surroundings and did not see any other footprints. 1. Wang Kai heard this and his corner of the eye scanned the people around him, feeling that there was only one of them blocking the knife in front of him. Be careful. However, just as he was pondering for a moment, Tang Ming's voice suddenly sounded ahead. Wang Kai Lai had no time to think, and his year-round survival in Wasteland had already made him instinctive to avoid danger, so he immediately rolled on the spot. However, Tang Ming did not remind him. That is the effort put into Tang Ming's words. The last side of the team. A white shadow suddenly fell from the top of the head. The bony white skin was reflected by the flames. Night Demon is a terrifying creature resembling a human without eyes. It's like a hunter hidden in the darkness. When everyone turned to find it, it had already transformed into a white shadow and disappeared into the darkness. Ah! Accompanied by a piercing scream that kept moving away from behind. Only then did everyone realize that a companion had already been killed. Run! Lao Yuto was the first to react. While reminding Tang Ming, he was already the first to run out. Tang Ming immediately followed. After killing their prey, night demons will store it. And this period is their opportunity. At this moment, Old Yu didn't think about working together to kill the night demon anymore. Before the death, there might have been this opportunity, but now everyone is in danger. Get lost. Tang Ming, who was running at full speed, suddenly felt a gust of evil wind coming from behind his head. Without much time to think, just bend down. An iron rod full of nails brushed against his scalp. Wang Kai. Seeing that the person attacking him was actually Wang Kai, Tang Ming instantly understood what the other party was trying to do. This is to ask all of them to help him cushion and hold back the night demon. Because according to the habit of killing one person and storing one person by night demons, as long as there are more people behind, the probability of the person at the forefront of the team escaping is higher. You better be grateful that you didn't walk out of here alive. Without a successful strike, Wang Kai didn't have the intention to stop. After putting down a harsh sentence, he accelerated his speed and instantly came behind Lao Yuto. Old Yu also heard the commotion behind him, knowing that it was extremely dangerous to have a dispute in such a place, so he didn't say much and stepped back to the side, making way for Wang to reach the front of the team. And when the three of them had already left, the rest of them realized it later. Let's hurry up too. Someone shouted at their companion, but as soon as they uttered these words, they suddenly felt a strong wind blowing over their heads. He looked up in shock, only to see a white shadow flickering and disappearing from his head before disappearing into the darkness ahead. This night demon can think. It prioritizes hunting the farthest prey from itself. Damn it! Why are so many people attacking labor and management from behind? Wang Kai, located at the forefront, felt the coolness coming from behind and his pupils contracted. Almost without any thought, the metal club with iron nails in its hand was thrown directly behind it. Dong! Hiss! Wang Kai was directly thrown out by a huge force and hit heavily on the wall of the tunnel. The torch fell, reflecting the appearance of the night demon at this moment. There is a lot of black blood oozing out from the densely packed mouth with sharp teeth. Wang Kai's attack successfully injured it, but at the same time, it also angered it. However, Wang Kaining has been arrogant on the wasteland for so long, but he still has some real skills. Faced with the night demon's suppression, he quickly stood up and parried. Although he struggled with it, the night demon couldn't take him down for a while. Bang! After a misplacement, he was knocked off again. This time Wang Kai spat out a big mouthful of blood, knowing that if he continued like this, he would undoubtedly die. With a sweep of his gaze, he caught sight of Tang Ming and his companions who had taken a step behind him. Seeing the two people watching the play without any movement, he immediately angrily said, "Come and help me, it's a waste of time. I'll kill you first." Tang Ming, who had originally planned to temporarily let go of his previous revenge for the safety of everyone and help Wang Kaiwei kill the night demon with Old Man Yu, almost laughed in anger when he heard this. Even if you stay in the wasteland for a long time and your mind is not very normal, you shouldn't be so foolish. Really, clay figurines have 3 parts of fire, let alone Tang Ming. P.S. I am looking for recommended tickets, monthly tickets, tips, and tomorrow Wednesday's follow. Up reading. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Throughout, seeking follow-up. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 6. Throughout, seeking follow-up. Foolish. Tang Ming's vertical middle finger. Old Yu gave Tang Ming a silent glance. He saw Tang Ming brewing for so long and thought he was going to rush forward, but this was the result. Compared to Tang Ming, Lao Yuto is clearly much more mature. Take out the hunting crossbow directly and start shooting at the night demon. However, it is obvious that he did not intend to avoid Wang Kai during the shooting process. Whoosh! The old man wants to kill me. I'll kill you first. Wang Kai, who narrowly escaped the attack of the night demon, failed to dodge the crossbow and arrow shot by Lao Yu, and his shoulder was pierced directly. The pain seemed to make him completely lose his sanity. Completely disregarding the subsequent attacks of the night demon, they headed straight towards the direction where the two were. However, while it may seem crazy, it is actually just pretending to be crazy. Wang Kai is actually more afraid of death than anyone else. His madness and bullying of men and women are all disguised to make other scavengers fear him and to survive better. Although it may seem brainless, this is his way of survival. If you want others not to harm you, you must make them fear you. But Wang Kai knew that the car had overturned this time. He had already offended both of them to death before. Now, the only way for him to survive is to drag Tang Ming and Lao Yu into the attack of the night demon together. However, with all his attention focused on Lao Yuto's hunting crossbow, he completely ignored Tang Ming who had already arrived in front of him. What? He only felt a pain in his abdomen, and then felt like his arm was being held in place by a steel clamp. When Wang Kai's stiff side looked behind him, there was only one big mouth welcoming him. Tang Ming. The night demon's big mouth opened to its fullest, swallowing all of Wang Kai's roar. With a click. The brain is cracked and the juice splashes everywhere. Dong. However, before the night demon could feel the pleasure of chewing food, an beam suddenly fell straight from the darkness above its head, and a huge force instantly crushed its head, then penetrated its entire body. Stupid to death. Tang Ming is feeling refreshed. Where did this steel bar come from? Old Yu, who was originally preparing to give it a try after Wang Kai's death, stared at the steel bars that suddenly fell from his head. Some people couldn't believe that the situation they had just narrowly escaped death was dramatically resolved by a sudden appearance of steel bars. Perhaps it has been out of repair for a long time. Tang Ming raised the torch high and pointed his hand towards his head. As for the true situation, it is impossible for it to be due to long-term disrepair. But he took out the steel bars from his backpack. When he was at home before, he found that the items in his backpack could appear within any 10-meter range around him. It can be used as a means of attack. However, previously, due to the speed of the night demon being too fast, it was impossible to aim. So I chose the night demon to take action during the pause in killing Wang Kai. Otherwise, there really wouldn't be a way to solve it so easily. Upon hearing Tang Ming's words, Old Yu also looked up at his head. He has lived here for so long, it's really the first time he knows there are steel bars on top of the tunnel. However, after Old Yu used a torch to dispel the darkness above, he became even more confused. The upper part is flat. So where did this special steel bar come from? Is the night demon dead? The scavengers who rushed behind were all confused when they saw the situation at the scene. They were originally prepared to die, but now they are told that this night demon was unlucky and was killed by steel bars suddenly falling from above. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never have believed such a coincidence had happened. Some people are grateful. But some people also had the idea of that steel bar. The psychological recovery ability of the scavengers is strong. Although they have just survived, they are now thinking about how to deal with the windfall of this day. This is a considerable wealth. 2 out of 12 people died, and now there are still 10 people left. But even if 10 people sell this steel bar, each person can still get a lot of food, which is more than their weekly harvest. So after several discussions among everyone, the value of steel bars was quickly divided equally. Tang Ming didn't say much about this. He is not foolish enough to expose his abilities. Soon everyone set off again. The steel bars were carried by 6 people, and although the speed of the journey was much slower than before, no one complained. As Tang Ming, who had a serious habit of collecting, naturally had no reason to let go of the things on Wang Kai's body and pack them together to take away. After nearly 2 hours of hard work, they also successfully entered the trading market located underground in the city center. The dim yellow lights illuminate every corner of this place, showcasing its prosperity. The narrow corridor with people coming and going is occupied by shops made of iron sheets. These shops are occupied by various forces in the city, such as large scavenger groups, survivor camps, Green Snake Legion, and Chaucer. If a lone wolf like them wants to sell something on their own, they can only go to the corner. Everyone quickly lifted the steel bars into a shop. After intense bargaining, Tang Ming sold the steel bars and ultimately received 25 pounds of inferior flour mixed with sand. Tang, I'm going to have a drink together, okay? After selling all his things, Old Yu asked Tang Ming. This unexpected gain clearly indicates that his mood is very good. What's the point of drinking water with only a hint of alcohol flavor? It's better to store a few pounds of grain for emergencies. Tang Ming shook his head. Wine in the wasteland is an expensive and scarce resource, and no one is so extravagant as to use it for drinking. So the alcohol sold in the market is just white water with a slight smell of alcohol. Anyway, Tang Ming doesn't understand the meaning of spending a few pounds of grain and a glass of white water. Upon hearing Tang Ming's words, Old Yu felt a bit unhappy. He was about to say something, but he shook his head. Talking to someone like you who has never tasted alcohol before is simply a waste of time. Tang Ming looked disdainfully at Lao Yuto. Before crossing the river, he could spin 1 box at a time. He never drank alcohol, isn't that funny? However, Tang Ming did not want to waste time arguing about this matter. He came this time not only to replenish the necessary supplies for survival, but also to purchase other things. Go drink your fake bar, I still have something to buy and leave first. This kid. Old Yu, seeing Tang Ming too turning around without looking back, angrily spat. If it's just a simple memory of the past, how could he exchange a few pounds of grain for a glass of wine with no taste at all? Seemingly relaxing, in reality, it is exchanging intelligence with scavengers in other regions. Years of survival experience often allow him to detect the arrival of danger in advance from some irrelevant communication. On the other side, after separating from Lao Yudo, Tang Ming found a deserted place and took out a unit of steel bars from his game backpack. Previously, there was no other way but to eat inferior food, but now that Golden Finger has received payment, it is naturally impossible to treat oneself unfairly. I casually found a larger store and exchanged Wang Kai's products with steel bars for 30 pounds of refined grains and 3 canned fish. The conversion ratio between refined grain and inferior food is 1.5, and 5 pounds of inferior food can be exchanged for 1 pound of refined grain. The conversion ratio between canned meat and refined grains is also 1.5. The remaining portion of Tang Ming was replaced with 15 pounds of drinking water. Putting some food into his backpack, Tang Ming began searching for scavengers selling electronic components in the corner of the market. I hope to find a few hard drives from it that store games. Only by obtaining more different types of games can his life on this wasteland truly be guaranteed. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Is not surprising, please follow up. You are listening at Novel Full Audio. Chapter 7 is not surprising, please follow up. How do these things sell? In the corner, Tang Ming pointed to a pile of miscellaneous items in front of a woman and asked. The woman has a layer of black oil on her body, covering her skin and face completely. Take a handful of food per kilogram. The woman reached out with one hand and picked up the clutter on the ground, indicating that one hand could grab as much as possible. This is 1 pound of inferior flour. Tang Ming had anticipated the price and threw a small bag of flour in front of the other party, then reached out and mixed a bunch of wires and electronic boards to pick up a hard drive. The appearance of the hard drive is somewhat deformed, and I'm not sure if it can still be used. After thinking for a moment, Tang Ming took out his hard drive and shook it in front of the woman, saying, "Do you know where else this kind of thing is? Finding a game from the hard drive is like searching for a needle in a haystack. Leaving aside whether there are games inside, the question of whether they can still run is a big one. Only a few electronic products can be fully preserved to this day." The woman faced Tang Ming's inquiry and extended a finger. One catty Tang Ming saw the situation and took out another pound of inferior flour. Obtained the location of a shop from the woman's mouth. According to it, if the electronic components found are of good quality, they will be sold to the other party first. The shop mentioned by the woman is located in the center of the market. Belongs to the regions where major powers are located. Above the store, there is a sun sign painted with crayons. Tang Ming was about to walk in, but behind him he felt someone holding on to him. Who? Taking out a small knife from his waist, Tang Ming looked back and found that the person holding him was actually old Yu, who said he was going to drink. What are you pulling me for? Tang Ming put away the knife and frowned as he asked. I won't hold you, you kid will be in big trouble today. Lao Yuto pointed to the area around the Sun logo store. Tang Ming looked around and quickly realized something was wrong. Several guys wearing camouflage suits seemed to be preparing to surround the store. The Green Snake Legion. The Green Snake Legion is the most powerful force in their city in terms of hard power. Just because they have a large amount of weapons in their hands. Let's stay a little further away first. Lao Yuto pulled Tang Ming away in the opposite direction. And it turned out that his decision was very visionary. Shortly after they left, there was a fierce gunfire coming from behind. Many were just scavengers passing by, resulting in their deaths. Are the members of the Green Snake Legion crazy? Let's take action here. Aren't we afraid that all forces will unite? Looking at the chaotic trading market, Tang Ming frowned and felt a bit puzzled. Because of the trading market, although there is no explicit rule prohibiting physical activity, this is a rule that all forces default to. Even if he really did it, it was just a black hand, but it was the first time Tang Ming had lived in this world for 2 years with such a big show. Because other forces also participated in the encirclement and suppression of day by day. Lao Yuto spoke at this moment. What's going on? Tang Ming knew some things day by day. Initially, the founders of this organization were a group of extreme sports enthusiasts who enjoyed parkour. After the Great Cataclysm, everyone was afraid of the powerful turtle of mutated creatures shrinking underground, only they still chose to shuttle between tall buildings. It is said that as a result, they collected many precious resources in the early stages after the Great Cataclysm. I heard that a genetic drug called Starting Point has been developed day by day, which can obtain powerful power equivalent to those mutated creatures after use. I came here to see if this news is true or false. Old Yu shared the news he heard while drinking. Upon hearing this, Tang Ming immediately realized the seriousness of the problem. We'd better leave now. As the saying goes, immortals and mortals suffer in fights. Nowadays, several factions have started fighting. Although it may seem like a small-scale conflict, it is difficult to guarantee that it will not affect the entire trading market. They continue to stay here, and it's uncertain that a bullet will fall on their head. Without hesitation, Tang Ming immediately walked out of the trading market with Lao Yuto. However, what they didn't expect was that the tunnel they came from was already surrounded by the members of the Green Snake Legion, making it impassable. What do you mean by this? A scavenger who also realized something was wrong and wanted to leave questioned. Duh. However, in response to him, there was only a long string of flames. Bloody flowers bloomed on the questioning scavenger. Until his death, his eyes remained open, as if he couldn't believe that the members of the Green Snake Legion really dared to shoot. The scavengers who were stopped at the scene immediately became chaotic. But soon, under the firepower of the Green Snake Legion, they were forcibly suppressed. No one is allowed to leave until all daily members in the trading market are eliminated. One soldier from the Green Snake Legion stood up and said. After receiving the answer, the originally restless crowd instantly quieted down. Old you, do you have any other way to leave? I don't think the people of Green Snake would let us go so easily. Tang Ming felt that there was something wrong with the situation and asked the old man beside him. Upon hearing this, old you nodded after a moment of silence. Yes, but it comes at a cost. He is also an old and refined person, and immediately understood what Tang Ming was worried about. It's better than dying inexplicably. Upon hearing Tang Ming's answer, old you didn't say much anymore and directly led Tang Ming towards the back of the crowd. Soon they arrived at a somewhat remote corner of the trading market. There is hardly anyone coming and going here, and the store is also in a rundown state. The only light source is only one torch, making the surroundings appear very dim. Lao Yuto didn't explain to Tang Ming and looked around before walking straight into a store. There is an old man in the shop. A person weighs 10 pounds without bargaining. The old man sat on the chair, squinting his eyes, without even lifting his eyelids while speaking. It wasn't until Tang Ming and his wife put down the food that they opened their eyes. He reached out and picked up the bags that the two had put down, weighed them, and then stood up lazily. Walk to the back of the store and pull open a carpet. A pitch-black tunnel appeared before the two of them. Let's go. Old Yu took out a torch from his backpack, lit it, and waved towards Tang Ming. Tang Ming was stunned for a moment before catching up. He didn't expect there to be a tunnel here. This is for scavengers who are worried about being robbed, and only a small number of scavengers know that this tunnel exists. And to prevent accidents, there are no fewer than 10 exits to this tunnel. Seeing Tang Ming's confusion, old Yu explained it. Tang Ming nodded, so they should be able to leave here safely. The entire tunnel is not long, it only leads in multiple directions, after all, it is just to avoid other people's sight. So, we quickly arrived at the exit where line 3 is located. Seeing the blocked stone wall pushed aside by Lao Yu, Tang Ming breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. However, just as he was about to step out of the tunnel, he unexpectedly looked up and met a pair of slightly stunned eyes. Xia Ji handed over the genetic potion, and we Green Snake can avoid killing you. In the distance, the soldiers of the Green Snake Legion were drinking loudly, which plunged Tang Ming and Lao Yu into a brief silence. There must be a problem with your way of opening the door. Tang Ming looked at old Yu, who was still in a daze, and reached out to close the door again. End of this chapter. In chapter 8, I have a sentence that I must say, please read it later. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, I have a sentence that I must say, please follow up. Wait. Take me one. Xia Ji, who had originally felt like she had no way out, would not give up the chance to survive. She grabbed the door that Tang Ming was about to close with her hands. 4 eyes facing each other. Old Yu, you're out of luck. You can easily open a door and encounter the main culprit of this incident. Tang Ming knew he couldn't do anything better this time, so he complained and turned around to run. Don't run, will we wait for the Green Snake to catch up and beat them all up? Tang Ming, take the left side. That's line 7, we can go back even if we take a detour. Lao Yuto's reaction was also rapid. After realizing that Xia Ji could not be stopped from entering the tunnel, he immediately followed and reminded him. There are many underground exits, as long as they stay away from the plague god Xia Ji, they will be safe. Tang Ming thinks this way, and Lao Yuto also thinks the same way. However, things went against our wishes. Xia Ji followed closely behind. The daily active area is on the ground, and I am not familiar with the complex subway lines. If he really wants to escape the pursuit of the Green Snake Legion, following Tang Ming and his familiar scavengers in underground tunnels is currently the best choice. Damn it! What are you doing with us? Get lost. Leaving the underground passage and seeing Xia Ji still following behind, Tang Ming couldn't help but curse angrily. Meanwhile, Lao Yuto took out his hunting crossbow directly, but soon after seeing the pistol held in Xia Ji's right hand, he silently withdrew the crossbow. Fortunately, Xia Ji didn't intend to threaten them with a gun, he just ran and said. I'm sorry, both of you. I have no other choice, but if you can take me out of here, I can promise to give you a generous reward when I return to the daily routine. However, at this moment, the two of them had no time to deal with this guy who had been stabbed 1,000 times. They were both running recklessly on their own. During their conversation, two members of the Green Snake Legion had already emerged from the tunnel. Because it was unclear which exit Xia Ji left from, they divided their original team of more than 20 people into 10 groups to pursue and search from different exits. Quickly, the two of them noticed the movement of the three people fleeing in the tunnel ahead, but hesitated to determine whether it was Xia Ji due to the dim lighting. Captain, we have discovered a suspected target and are running towards the Qinghua station on line 7. One of them pressed the waste radio communication device to quickly report. Don't shoot yet, follow him, support will arrive soon. The intercom lights lit up and gave orders to the two people. The sound was loud, even Tang Ming and the others who had already run a distance ahead could hear it very clearly. Tang Ming and Lao Yuto both have unattractive faces. Tang Ming, the members of the Green Snake Legion should have cars. If we continue like this, we will soon be caught up with. Lao Yuto spoke up. Upon hearing this, Tang Ming turned his head to look at Xia Ji. Later, Xia Ji seemed to notice his gaze and turned his head to one side. You blush like a bubble teapot, if you feel embarrassed, don't follow us. Tang Ming roared in his heart. If it weren't for the Green Snake soldiers chasing after him relentlessly, and old Yu being by his side, there was a risk of exposing his golden fingers when using the game backpack again, he would have let Xia Ji know what surprise is. Do you lack support day by day? Thinking of this, Tang Ming suppressed the impulse of blood splashing 5 steps and patiently asked Xia Ji. It is obviously unrealistic to get rid of Xia Ji now, and we can only place our hope on the daily organization behind him. The Green Snake was well prepared this time, although other forces did not join them in fighting, they joined forces with them to block the news of the trading market. It may take some time until our people realize something is wrong. Xia Ji knew that the current situation was not very good, and her expression was very solemn. Originally, he took out gene potions day by day to collaborate with major forces, but to his surprise, the Green Snake would choose to take action directly. It's not that they're not being cautious enough day by day, but that they can't figure out why the Green Snake has any reason to take action against them. After all, they have no intention of concealing the genetic drug every day. Isn't it just that we're doomed? Knock your horse. Although we have only known each other for a few minutes, Tang Ming's desire to stab the other person's heart cannot be concealed. Is there no other tunnel? Xia Ji felt guilty and didn't answer, instead asking old Yu. There aren't so many tunnels, you've caused us so much trouble this time. Compared to Tang Ming, Lao Yuto was more calm and did not directly get angry with Xia Ji. However, as his gaze swept over the metal box that Xia Ji was holding in his hand, he asked somewhat strangely. Is the gene potion in the box you have in your hand? Yes. Xia Ji glanced at the box in her hand and nodded. Can't we kill that group of green snakes after injection? Tang Ming also looked at the box, his eyes lit up. It's not that outrageous. Xia Ji shook her head and said, and this is just an experimental product. Many aspects are not perfect, and the side effects are exaggerated. This time, I came here to invite other forces to study with us. It turned out to be garbage. Upon hearing the side effects, Tang Ming immediately lost interest. His ability to kill this thing is great. But the premise is that there is time for him to develop. Thinking of this, Tang Ming let out a cry of misfortune in his heart. Helpless, he could only focus his gaze on the game backpack. A few seconds later, 10 meters ahead of them, a pickup truck suddenly appeared. How could there be a car here? The light in the tunnel was dim, and by the time Lao Yuto and Xia Ji discovered the pickup truck, they were already within 3 meters, which made them think that the pickup truck had been parked here all along. Tang Ming ignored the startled voices of the two and entered the driver's seat directly. After some operation, the headlights lit up. Can drive, get in the car quickly. After starting the pickup truck, Tang Ming said to Lao Yuto. Upon seeing this, the two of them immediately had no time to think about whether it was reasonable for a brand new pickup truck that could be driven with the key inserted to appear here. Because compared to this kind of problem, it is obviously more important to escape here quickly and save one's life. The two quickly flipped over and entered the cargo box behind the pickup truck, then lay down directly. The two members of the Green Snake Legion in the back, if they discover that they have a car, may shoot directly, so it is safer to lie down. Tang Ming glanced at Xia Ji through the rearview mirror and didn't say much. He just stepped on the accelerator and started the car. Suddenly, the roar of cars echoed through the tunnel. Da-da-da. As expected, the two soldiers from the Green Snake in the rear chose to shoot directly. However, in this dimly lit environment, the sight was not very sharp, and only 2 bullets hit the back of the pickup truck, causing no harm. The 2 Green Snake soldiers behind could only watch the tail lights of the pickup truck getting further and further away from them. Where did this car come from? This sudden pickup truck makes them understand. Seeing that they couldn't hit the target, the two stopped shooting. Report to the captain quickly, their car will definitely not be able to leave the tunnel in a short time. Hurry up, maybe we can still find them. A soldier quickly said. The news quickly spread back. About 5 minutes later, 7 motorcycles rushed over and, after understanding the general situation, immediately chased towards the direction where Tang Ming and the others had left. Subsequently, several waves of people rushed in. Every time there are 7 or 8 motorcycles together. After searching for other exits without finding anyone, they confirmed that Xia Ji had escaped from the route in front of them. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Escape from Shengtian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Escape from Shengtian. Buzz, the engine roared in the narrow tunnel. The bright headlights illuminate the front. It has been half an hour since Tang Ming took out his pickup truck. At this point, they have returned to the station where they first entered the subway station. You guys go down first, I'll drive the car to another subway station. Otherwise, when the Green Snake Legion sees this car, they will definitely send people to search around us. After stopping the car, Tang Ming spoke up. Then be careful yourself. After saying this, Lao Yuto didn't stay long and left the subway station directly with Xia Ji. Upon seeing this, Tang Ming restarted the car and entered the darkness ahead, directly retracting the pickup truck back into the game backpack. Wait in place for a while, feeling like it's almost time before returning. Why are you still here? After leaving the subway station, Tang Ming realized that Xia Ji had not left yet and was waiting for him with Lao Yuto. He immediately frowned. In his opinion, the other party is a big trouble and he doesn't want to have more contact. We have at least lived and died together before. Tang Ming looked at the other person expressionlessly. If it weren't for their insistence on coming in, there wouldn't have been so much going on now. Feeling Tang Ming's gaze, Xia Zhijia smiled twice, feeling guilty in realizing that if it weren't for Tang Ming and his wife today, he would have been unlucky. He immediately changed the topic. Don't worry about the compensation. I'll keep my word and let someone know in a few days. What do you want? Xia Zhi retreated halfway. Because he realized that after he said the words of compensation, Tang Ming's gaze was somewhat off. I'm not that kind of person. What kind of person? If you really want to compensate us, just leave here as soon as possible. If you really feel guilty, just give whatever you have now. Tang Ming doesn't want to talk to Xia Zhi anymore. He's like asking him to get out of here quickly, and it's best never to see him again. What's on me? Xia Zhi was stunned for a moment. He carried a pistol, a tube of genetic potion, and a set of climbing tools he used daily in the city. After hesitating for a moment, he handed out the pistol in his hand and the box containing the gene potion. Okay, since you want it. Xia Zhi is not worried that the two of them will hand over the genetic potion to the green snake, because with the style of the green snake, they will directly kill people. Therefore, as long as Tang Ming and the others are not foolish, they will not do so. And as long as it won't be taken by the green snake, it doesn't matter who hands over the unfinished gene potion. Tang Ming didn't expect Xia Zhi to give the gun and gene potion, and his brow furrowed. After connecting the gun, I didn't look at the genetic potion, but instead pointed to the climbing tool hanging from Xia Zhi's waist. You keep the potion, this is mine. He's not stupid, taking the Lashizi gene potion is of no use and may cause even greater trouble. This thing doesn't work on me. Seeing that Tang Ming wanted his climbing tools, Xia Zhi did not show the same generosity as before this time. Because without this set of tools, it would be impossible for him to return from the ground day by day under the pursuit of the green snake. Tang Ming didn't say much about this and directly pointed his gun at Xia Zhi, threatening. Mr. Xia Zhi, you don't want to die here right now, do you? Brother, I have already shot all the bullets inside. Xia Zhi's mouth twitched, feeling that she couldn't keep up with Tang Ming's brain circuits. Oh, just a joke. Upon seeing this, Tang Ming showed no embarrassment on his face and directly handed the gun to Lao Yu, then looked at Xia Zhi. Let's talk about the issue of compensation. After some friendly negotiations, Tang Ming received a promise from Xia Zhi that he would bring another pistol and 20 bullets in 3 days. However, Xia Zhi also made his request, which was to ask Tang Ming to temporarily help him keep the gene potion. After all, he cannot guarantee that he will not be discovered by the green snake people during the return process. Sure. Tang Ming thought for a moment and agreed directly. Anyway, the situation has become like this, I was inexplicably tricked by the other party. Not bringing back some benefits feels like losing blood. Upon receiving Tang Ming's response, Xia Zhi did not stop and quickly disappeared from their sight. What do you think? Old Yu played with the pistol in his hand, like a child getting a new toy. He really didn't understand how Tang Ming dared to really ask Xia Zhi for something. Aren't you afraid that the other party will bring someone back and kill the two of them later? Just him. A pure idealist, not just him, but also day by day. Tang Ming shook his head and said, can you share the gene potion? Isn't this pure and flawed? And the probability of these two fools retaliating with kindness is not high, and if they can use it to obtain a gun for self-defense, Tang Ming feels willing to take some risks. Next time, it's better to be more cautious. Old Yu was a bit worried about Tang Ming's actions, but he didn't say much, just a reminder. By the way, this pistol. Take it and see if you can roll out a few bullets. I've found some gunpowder before, and if I can do it, I'll send it to you. Tang Ming waved his hand, holding a bullet was useless. And Lao Yu's hands are very skillful. The opponent can make all kinds of weapons, and they are both good and durable. Maybe by studying more, he can really make bullets. Okay, I'll go back and give it a try. Like them, scavengers spend a lot of time at their own homes, trying to pass the time and obtain more food. They try to make some items themselves to some extent, so Old Yu agreed directly. After agreeing on this matter, the two of them also separated and returned to their respective strongholds. Returning to the underground garage, Tang Ming already felt his stomach rebelling. Take out the canned fish I just bought today and open it directly. Canned fish in oil. Very fragrant. It's so delicious. Tang Ming took out a piece and put it into his mouth, feeling the delicious taste emanating from his tongue. His eyes couldn't help but feel a bit moist. Compared to the sour and astringent foods he has eaten in the past 2 years, he feels like he's in heaven now. After eating several oil-soaked small fish in succession and suppressing the hunger, Tang Ming stopped eating them. What kind of thing happened in the trading market? I don't know if it can still open normally next week. If you can't, you need to save a bit and use these oil-soaked small fish to cook. Otherwise, if you finish it all at once, you'll have to eat plain rice. Wait until the food is cooked before eating. Temporarily put the canned food aside. While waiting for the rice to cook, Tang Ming began checking his backpack. 30 pounds of coarse rice, 15 pounds of inferior drinking water, 13 pounds of inferior flour mixed with sand, and 2 unopened cans of oil-soaked small fish. Put these foods in the storage box. Tang Ming then shifted his gaze to the remaining 2 things. A slightly deformed old hard drive with a capacity of 1 terabyte written on it. The genetic potion that Xia Ji temporarily entrusted him with. Tang Ming touched his chin, but he was still curious about what this genetic potion looked like. It's better not to tamper with others' things. Tang Ming thought this way and reached out to put the box aside. However, to his surprise, his hand slipped and the lock fell off on its own. Damn it. Firstly, it should be noted that Tang Ming strongly despises merchants who produce inferior iron locks. When Xia Ji arrives, make sure to talk to him well and ask him to replace it with a better quality lock next time. When Tang Ming thought this way in his heart, the box storing gene drugs had already opened automatically. Exposed a medicine tube located in the center emitting a faint green light. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Fishing Experts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Fishing Experts. Tang Ming reached out to pick up the medicine and carefully examine it. However, just as his hand touched the glass test tube, he felt a slight abnormality. Retract your hand and see an extra layer of old skin on your fingertips. Damn it, there's radiation. Tang Ming was shocked and quickly closed the box. This is not a genetic drug, it's clearly nuclear wastewater. After closing the box, I threw it directly into the farthest corner from where I slept. He doesn't want to wake up early tomorrow and become a radiant person. Return to the workbench, take out the hard drive, and start checking if it can still be used. Perhaps it's because we ran out of bad luck today. After waiting for more than half an hour for the computer to turn on, Tang Ming discovered the files on the hard drive, and the computer was able to detect them normally. A private tutor. AVI is also a person who loves learning. After opening the hard drive, Tang Ming couldn't help but admire the names of the files in the first row. Indeed, only those who love learning can. Their spiritual will endure decades of ups and downs and still be passed down. Assuming the speed at which the iron ball falls is x, then it falls at a. Damn it, what am I looking forward to? Watching the real tutor in the video, Tang Ming decisively turned off the video and continued to search for game files. He detested this kind of tutoring video in his previous life. However, most of the files on this hard drive are videos explaining various subjects in high school. It wasn't until he reached the bottom of the page that Tang Ming saw a folder with the words, "Relax," written on it. Turn it on. Fishing Expert, Thief Simulator, 2 game folders lie quietly inside. Fishing Expert. Thief Simulator. Tang Ming's face showed a look of surprise. What is surprise? What's so special? It's called surprise. He had no hope at all, but who knew that this hard drive not only contained games, but also two. What is this called? This is called Shuanghuang. This fishing expert can tell by his name, it must be related to fishing, so there's no need to look too much, but this thief simulator Tang Ming was curious about what kind of simulation method this was. With such curiosity, he clicked on the thief simulator. EXE, game loading. Load, decades later, the computer screen went black. Tang Ming leaned back and it took him a while to react. Is the computer broken? His heart suddenly lifted and he quickly checked. Fortunately, after a thorough inspection, he found that the computer was not broken and could still boot up normally, which finally relieved him. The reason for this situation, based on his years of gaming experience, is probably due to insufficient computer configuration. So, I need to find a computer with better configuration to play this game. Tang Ming rubbed his eyebrows and felt a pain in his skull. After all, it took him over 2 years just to find this broken computer, and he had to find a better one. I don't know if there is one there day by day. The other party will come over in a few days, you can ask then. Day by day is at least one of the largest forces around here, and there should be a lot of good things to collect. Wait for Xia Ji to come and ask. Tang Ming pondered for a moment about the items in his hand that he could exchange with the other party. Not many discoveries. Only the parts he removed from the car, as well as the steel bars. However, the steel bars are not easy to remove. Let's talk about it later. I still don't know the price of this still usable computer, and I don't know if the other party will make a move. No matter how much I think about it now, there is no doubt. Waiting for the laptop to reopen, I shifted my attention to another game. That is to say, a fishing expert. This game should enrich one's recipe. But I just don't know if this broken computer can run this game. With a nervous heart, Tang Ming double-clicked to start the file. With the sound of waves, a blue sea appeared in Tang Ming's sight. It seems to work. Seeing this, Tang Ming exhaled a breath. Then I started researching the specific gameplay of this fishing expert. After starting the game, the controlled character appears on a wooden boat that can only accommodate one person. A bucket, a simple wooden fishing rod, and a can of regular bait. Following the beginner's tutorial, Tang Ming opened the can containing the bait. Then scatter half of it directly into the sea ahead for nesting, which can effectively provide a chance of catching fish. After completing this step, Tang Ming also started fishing according to the process. Quickly, a prompt appeared on the game interface asking him to forcefully drag the mouse. Is this a fish? Tang Ming's spirit shook and he didn't expect it to be so easy. Quickly swipe on the touchpad. Although this operation on his laptop was a bit difficult for him, his first fish in the game was still pulled out of the water by him. Crucian Carp +1, a prompt appears on the left side of the screen, indicating that this is a crucian carp larger than a palm. After catching the fish, an indicator appeared on the game's mini-map, reminding him to sell the caught fish at this location and use the money to purchase better bait and fishing equipment. At this point, the beginner's tutorial for the game officially ends. Is this game okay without hands? Tang Ming felt that it was not difficult, so he did not continue the test. He reached out and inserted his hand into the computer screen to enter the game. There was no spinning around, and when he regained his senses, he had already appeared on the small boat in the game. The sea breeze brushes against my face, carrying the unique salty smell of the sea. Tang Ming rubbed his nose, feeling a bit uncomfortable. Fortunately, compared to fresh and delicious small fish, this is not a big problem. Following the previous beginner's tutorial, Tang Ming quickly completed the nest and lowered the fishing hook. Start waiting for loading. During the waiting time, he was not idle either, starting to review the information that had been added to his mind when he entered the game earlier. The setting of a fishing expert bringing items back to reality is different from that of a corruption simulator. Because there are no tasks and it is not the reason for the level game, in Fishing Master, as long as you catch the fish, you can directly bring it back to reality. At the same time, selling the fish and purchasing equipment can also directly bring them back to reality. Simply put, anything that belongs to you can be brought out of the game without any restrictions. When you're ready to exit the game, go to the beach and see what you can buy. Thinking in his heart, Tang Ming began to patiently wait. And then this wait lasted for half an hour. At this point, he was surprised to realize that this was a hardcore realistic style game. In the beginner's tutorial, the process of catching fish from the bottom of the stick really only appears in the tutorial. Fortunately, I have plenty of time. Tang Ming quickly lost his breath, and 1 hour in the game is equivalent to 1 minute outside. He stayed inside for a day, and it was only less than half an hour outside. He really doesn't believe it, he can't catch a few fish in a day. During the time between Tang Ming and the fishing rod, several exports from the trading market. At this point, this place was already surrounded by nervous scavengers. "Captain, we haven't found any trace of Xia Ji and that car." At this moment, a soldier from the Green Snake came running towards the scavengers, and a man sitting on a pile of corpses began to report. "P.S. I beg for your help." End of this chapter.